All right, let's talk about one of the biggest questions you'll face in your cybersecurity career. Should you go for the CISSP or the CISM? This is a huge deal. We're not just talking about letters after your name, we're talking about a major strategic move that can literally define your future in this field. So let's break it all down and figure out which one is the right fit for you.
So if you're watching this, you're probably standing right at that fork in the road. CISSP on one side, CISM on the other. It's a massive decision, and you're absolutely right to be thinking it through carefully, because the choice you make right now, well, it's going to have a huge impact on your career for years to come.
So here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll talk about why this choice is so important right now. Then we'll do a head-to-head overview of CISSP versus CISM. We'll dive deep into the exams and requirements, and of course, we'll look at the jobs, roles, and salary you can expect. After that, we'll help you figure out which path is yours, and finally, we'll touch on how you can prepare smarter. Sound good? Let's do it.
All right, first up, your next career move. Why is this specific decision between these two certifications so critical, especially now as we're looking at 2025 and beyond?
Look, it's pretty simple. In today's cybersecurity landscape, certifications like these aren't just a nice-to-have. They're basically essential benchmarks that prove you know your stuff. They make you way more marketable to employers, and, this is the big one, they are the keys that unlock the doors to those senior-level, high-impact leadership roles. Now for the main event, a head-to-head overview of CISSP versus CISM. What are these things really, and who are they actually for?
You know, the easiest way to wrap your head around this is with an analogy. Think of the CISSP as the gold standard for the hands-on technical leader. This is the person who's in the trenches, designing and building secure systems. The CISM, on the other hand, is the strategic playbook for the manager. This is the person who's focused on the big picture, governance, risk, and making sure security actually supports the business goals. So if we peel back the onion a little bit, you can really see their different philosophies. The CISSP comes from ISC², and it's all about creating that jack-of-all-trades leader who's both technical and managerial. Then you've got the CISM from ISACA, and they are laser-focused on governance and management, making it perfect for people who want to be security managers or risk officers.
All right, let's get into the nitty-gritty. What does it actually take to earn one of these? We're talking exams, requirements, the whole shebang. Okay, the biggest difference here, without a doubt, is the scope. You can think of it as breadth versus depth. CISSP is like a massive, wide river. It covers 8 different domains that range from super technical stuff like security architecture all the way to management. CISM is more like a deep well. It's incredibly focused on just 4 core areas like governance, risk, and incident management.
And the tests themselves, totally different experiences. The CISSP is what's called a computerized adaptive test, or CAT. That's a fancy way of saying the exam actually gets harder or easier depending on how you're answering. It's anywhere from 100 to 150 questions in 3 hours. CISM is much more traditional. It's a straight-up linear exam. 150 questions, you get 4 hours. Simple as that.
So what about the experience you need just to be able to sit for the exam? Both require 5 years of relevant work, but here's the kicker. And it's a really important one. CISM specifically requires that 3 of those 5 years have to be an information security management role. That management focus is a huge differentiator from the very beginning.
Okay, you've done the hard yards, you've passed the beast of an exam, so what's the reward? Let's talk jobs, roles, and of course the money. What's the payoff?
All right, let's talk numbers. And these are some pretty nice numbers, by the way. Based on average data in the US, CISSP holders tend to have a bit of an edge, pulling in around $127,500 a year. CISM holders are right there with them at about $122,500. Now, of course, this can vary a lot, but either way, you're looking at a serious return on your investment.
So with the CISSP, you're usually looking at roles that keep you closer to the tech. We're talking about jobs like security architect, a senior security engineer, or a high-level security analyst. It's also a really common, and often required, certification for anyone who has their sights set on that corner office as a Chief Information Security Officer, the CISO.
On the flip side, CISSM is your fast track into management and governance. The job titles here sound a little different. Security Manager, Information Risk Manager, Compliance Manager. See the pattern? These are roles that are less about being hands-on with the keyboard and much more about strategy, policy, and leading the security program from a high level.
Okay, so we've thrown a lot at you. The big question remains, which path is yours? Let's walk through a super simple framework to help you figure this out once and for all.
Look, it all comes down to being honest with yourself and answering two simple questions. First, what's your focus? Do you love being a hands-on practitioner, solving technical puzzles, or are you drawn to being a strategic manager, thinking about the big picture? And second, what's your end goal? Is your dream job to be a security architect, or is it to be a risk officer? Your answers to those two questions will point you directly to the right certification.
Okay, so you've picked your path. You know if you're Team CISSP or Team CISM. Now what? The final piece of the puzzle is figuring out how to actually prepare effectively so you can pass that exam.
Because let's be real, choosing the cert is one thing. Actually passing it, that's a whole other ballgame. You absolutely need a strategic plan that helps you study smarter, not just harder.
And that's where modern tools like Flash Genius really come into play. See, instead of just dumping 1,000 practice questions on you and hoping for the best, it uses AI to build a learning path that's customized just for you. It's got realistic exam simulations so you know what to expect, and smart reviews that don't just tell you what you got wrong, but why you got it wrong. It's a total game changer.
What really sets it apart from, the other guys is this whole active, adaptive approach. Having an AI-guided path that literally changes as you learn, using games to keep you motivated, it all adds up. It's less like a textbook and more like having a personal study coach in your pocket.
So at the end of the day, the choice between CSISP and CISM is really a choice about the kind of cybersecurity leader you want to become. Do you want to be the architect building the fortress, or do you want to be the general drawing the map for the entire kingdom? Whichever path you choose, remember that smart, strategic preparation is what will get you there. And when you're ready to start that journey, tools like Flash Genius are built to be your guide. So the only question left is, where do you want to go next?